Right, I'm very glad to welcome you all in our today's session. And today we're going to talk about, or we will have a critical analysis of the text, the Declaration of Independence. Uh, since actually we have talked about the author of this, the Declaration of Independence of this text, so we're not going to focus on that thing that much, but we will start our discussion from the text today, and we'll try to analyze most of the important parts that we have here in the text. Now, as you can see in the very first slide, okay, a little bit of background about the Declaration of Independence. So you can see in January 1776, common sense is distributed throughout colonies, and at that time 13 colonies actually they agreed upon to have this draft. And on June 7th,
can you speak a little bit louder?
Okay. And June 7, 1776, Richard Henry Lee offers a resolution to Congress that these united colonies ought to be free and independent. And in 1776, June 11, Congress appoints a committee to write a Declaration of Independence. And this committee actually comprises of five different people, and all of them, they're very famous people, and some of them became presidents later on, presidents of the United States of America. So out of these five people, you can see, we have the names here on the screen: Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, John Adams, Robert Livingstone, and Thomas Jefferson. So Thomas Jefferson, you can see he was also a part of this committee, and he was given the duty of writing the first draft of this Declaration of Independence. Now, the next slide, you can see on July 4, 1776, the Declaration of Independence is adopted by Congress, and John Hancock was the first person to sign it. So he first signed this draft and he accepted it. Then August 2nd, 1776, Declaration of Independence is signed by 50 present members of Congress, and Franklin remarks, "We must all hang together or we shall hang separately." So he was saying that we shall work together, otherwise we'll not be able to materialize these draft, or will not be able to have our independence. Now, I'll jump to the next slide. Now, although there were 5 men appointed to write the Declaration of Independence, Jefferson was the author. So we know that Jefferson, actually he drafted it, and Congress only accepted the Declaration of Independence after they cut a large portion that attacked slavery. So in the first draft, Thomas Jefferson, actually he incorporated there are some clauses or some sentences regarding slavery, but at that time, American trade, especially their plantation, it was heavily dependent on on slaves. So that's why actually they didn't want to enrage common people's emotion, and they don't want to cause any trouble. So that's why actually they didn't agreed to have some clause on slavery in the very first draft. So there was no such thing that, for example, that they didn't want to make any commitment to free the slaves. So it was omitted from the draft. Then Jefferson used the Enlightenment ideas of John Locke, but some critics, they say that it is a kind of assumption, that it is not sure that actually whether he was really, you can say, influenced by John Locke's treatise. And you know, John Locke, actually, he wrote very famous, articles, very famous treatises that we call, long articles, just like books. So he wrote 2 treatises. They're titled 2 treatises, and these 2 treatises, especially the first one actually that talked about, that is called patricialism. The patricialism means it's a kind of theory, or it's a kind of you can say ideas which gives the king the sole power over his subjects. That means he will be regarded as a father figure for his subjects. So that is the patricialism, and he was actually questioning this idea that whether the king should have this kind of power, the absolute power over his subjects and also over his state, over his kingdom. So John Locke actually challenged this idea, this monarchy, the system of monarchy, in his first series. In the second series, actually, he was talking about, the natural rights of the people. And as you know, if we talk about the natural rights, if you have the text in your hand, I will ask you to go to the very first paragraph of the text that we call Preamble, that is called Preamble by the critic. Do you have the text with you, the Declaration of Independence?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, in that case, I can do one thing. If you don't have the text with you, let me see if I can help you. Okay, now, even if you don't have the text, now I have shared the text on the screen. Can you see the text?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So if you just take a look at the screen and you can see the very first paragraph of the text, it says that when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the options of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. Now, I will ask you to focus on some of the phrases here. You see the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. So here you can see that how these laws of nature and of nature's God, it has been emphasized. Now, can anyone tell me, what does it mean, the laws of nature?
মানে স্যার প্রত্যেকটা মানুষ যে সমান সেটা বোঝানো হচ্ছে কি?
I think Shaguri is talking, so I will give
ন্যাচারাল ল যেগুলো ন্যাচারালি যে পাওয়া যায়
excuse me, listen to me folks. Shagur was trying to say something first, so I will give him a chance, then later on you can come on by one. Shagur, yes, what were you saying?
মানে মানে সৃষ্টিকর্তা প্রদত্ত যে আমাদের যে হচ্ছে মানে অ্যাট্রিবিউট যেগুলো, যেমন হচ্ছে আমাদের প্রত্যেক মানুষই কিন্তু সমান, সবারই সমান অধিকার আছে, সবাই সমানভাবে মানে সমান ফ্যাসিলিটিস নিয়ে বাঁচতে চাই আর কি। এই বিষয়গুলো কি লস অফ নেচারের মানে দিয়ে বোঝাচ্ছে?
Okay, you're very close, Shagur. You're very close. Your assumption is very close. I'll explain it later. So I'll give this chance to someone else. Who wants to have his or her comment on it?
I want.
Okay, Jannatul Siddiqa. Yes, go on.
I want to tell.
ন্যাচারাল যে লগুলো মানে মানুষ যখন জন্মায় তারপর যে লগুলো তার নরমালি পাওয়া উচিত সেগুলোকেই বলা হয়েছে।
Okay, you're also very close. Yeah, Mo, please go on. Yes, Mo. Mo, can you hear me? Mo?
The laws of nature means that laws which we have been given. Yes, sir. I'm telling. The laws of nature means laws which we have been given by God.
Okay, the laws of nature means which have been given.
Bible law. Bible
Okay.
rights of us.
Okay, I understand it. That means when you are born, so we are born with some kind of rights, and it was entitled by the Lord, by the God. So we call them natural laws.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I could hear you. It was broken, but still I could get it. Okay, no problem. Now, almost all of you actually have answered it, quite well. You're very close to the, original definition. Now, you see, when we talk about laws, then generally you can see we have two different kinds of laws. One is natural laws and another one is you can see something, we call it legal laws. I mean, that is, that goes with the legal, it's man-made, exactly. With the natural laws, you can see that some of the rights of the human beings which are very universal, and these laws are not determined by any man-made laws. Okay, so those laws are not determined by any man-made laws. Those laws automatically, those laws are imposed on us, entitled on us. So we can have those laws without any kind of discrimination, whether you are poor or whether you're rich, it doesn't matter. So those laws are applicable for everybody, universal laws that we call. For example, our access to food, our access to medicine, our access to the happiness. So these are natural laws. Happiness is a natural law. No one can stop me for being happy, because that is my, actually when I was born, I was entitled to be happy in this world. Okay, so these are the natural laws. And of nature's God entitled them. Nature's God means the Almighty. He has entitled us with these kind of laws. So he's emphasizing with these two, excuse me, with these two phrases that as human beings we have the law, we have the rights, the natural rights, and we have been deprived of these rights by the British Empire. So that's why I have every reason to ask for the separation. That's why actually I'm saying why actually we are going to be separated. Why do we want independence? Why do actually we don't want to be with British Empire anymore? So now he's giving the reasons. So critic says that maybe these are the lines, these are the ideas actually he got from the from John Locke and from his treatise. It is possible, might be he was influenced by it. And also we will find the, in the next paragraph, you'll also find John Locke's influence, on Thomas Jefferson. Actually, how actually he got some of the ideas from Thomas Jefferson's treatises. We'll also find it in the next paragraph. So I'll be reading it to you. Can you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, the second paragraph in the preamble, he says that we hold these truths to be self-evident. So just look at this word self-evident. So we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, government are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whatever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to effect their safety and happiness. So if you just take this whole line and along with the first two lines, in the first two lines it says that all men are created equal, and this is self-evident. That means nobody can challenge this thing. It's a fact, it's a truth, and there is no chance that you can refute it, that all men are created equal. That means we are created equal, that they're endowed by their creator. Creator means the Almighty, with certain unalienable rights. The laws of nature, or you can say the natural rights. Natural rights are the unalienable rights according to him, or we can say inalienable rights. That means those rights are not, you cannot separate them from any person, any individual, those rights. So that means everybody has the rights to enjoy those natural rights. And that among these are, so what are those three things actually he's emphasizing? One is life, and another one is liberty, and the third one is the pursuit of happiness. Now, in his second treatise, Thomas Jefferson actually, he mentioned life, liberty, and property, or we can say life, liberty, and estate. That means life, liberty, and property he mentioned, but here we can see that Thomas Jefferson, he has kept the first two, the life and liberty, and the third one he has replaced it with the idea of the pursuit of happiness. Do you get me what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, someone is writing on the screen.
স্যার বুঝতে হয়নি।
Can you see the screen?
স্যার বুঝতে পারি নাই।
Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm reading it from the second paragraph, the first two lines. That it says that all men are created equal. He's saying that this is self-evident. Self-evident means something which is so true that you cannot challenge it. That means everybody will accept it that all men are created equal. Don't you agree with that? That we are created equal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it. So that is self-evident. So nobody can challenge it. We don't want to challenge it actually. And this idea that all men are created equal, and who created us equally? The Almighty, the Creator.
Our Creator.
Yes, exactly. He created us equally, so you cannot challenge it. And He created us equally with certain rights. He has given us certain rights. For example, rights to become happy, rights to enjoy the nature, rights to have food, rights to gain prosperity in your life. So these are the rights that we can have, and God Himself actually has entitled us with these kind of rights, and that's why He's saying that. And among these rights, among all these rights are natural rights. You cannot separate them from any individual. Out of all these rights, He has mentioned three rights which are very important. That is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Still today, you can see that American life and the society, still actually they are following this right to life and the right to liberty and the right to the pursuit of happiness. So that's why you can see people want to go there. They want to pursue their dream in America. Why? Because America ensures this. Their constitution ensures this, that they ensures your life, your safety, they ensures your liberty. That means you have the freedom of the speech, you have freedom of expression, you can say whatever you like, you can demonstrate, you can exercise your democracy, all these things. You can exercise your democratic right. So in America, we can also see these things. So American Constitution, American life actually based upon these three very, you can say, important phrases. And you cannot separate these three important phrases of words from the lives of the American people. That is life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These three ideas, the critic says that Thomas Jefferson actually, he adopted this idea from John Locke's second treaty, which said that we have rights, and those are life, liberty, and property. But John Locke kept the first, Thomas Jefferson, he took the first two, life, liberty, but he replaced the last one, property, with the pursuit of happiness. So for the American people, the pursuit of happiness is, for happiness, to pursue happiness or to get happy or to become happy, you can do, whatever you want. You have the freedom to have it, because the very second. Yes, go on.
স্যার এখানে যে জন লকের কথা বলতেছেন স্যার, এটা কি ফ্রিডম অফ উইলের জন লক কি?
Yes, exactly, the same John Locke, because he was a very influential philosopher. So almost all the European philosophers, and also you see the Western world, they are heavily influenced by John Locke's philosophies. Even Thomas Jefferson, he was also influenced by John Locke's philosophy. So he borrowed this idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness from John Locke's writings or his philosophy. Now, the next paragraph, which is very important, he says that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, driving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now, I will not go to the rest of the thing, but before that, I just want to give you a simple, explanation of this. You see, we have already said that we have some natural rights, right? All of us, we have some natural rights.
Yes, sir.
So we are agreed on those things. That, for example, we have the right to preserve our life. We have the right to preserve our liberty. We have the right to be happy, right?
Yes, sir.
So these are natural rights. Now, when actually we are living in a society, sometimes when you want to ensure your own life, or when you want to preserve your own life, or when you want to ensure your own liberty, or when you want to be happy, sometimes we can see that it actually disturbs or annoys somebody else's happiness, somebody else's liberty, somebody else's life, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because
Yes, sir.
we're living in the society. So for example, I want to be very much happy. So when actually I want to be happy, I find that I'm making some of my family members' life very miserable. I'm asking about money, I'm asking about favors all the time. So I'm not taking, I'm not caring about other people's or others, happiness, others, what should I say, that their advantage or disadvantages. I'm not considering all those things. I only think about myself. We have people like this, and all of us, more or less, we are in one way or another, we are narcissists. We take care of ourselves. We are self-centered in one way or another way at one point of our life. So as a result, so that people's liberty, life, and pursuit of happiness, so that it doesn't get disturbed. That's why we need to have a government kind of a stuff in the society, so that all of us, all together, we can be happy. It's not about that I'm only the happy person in the society. That all of us together we can prosper, all of us we can enjoy the life, all of us together we can enjoy the liberty, all of us we can pursue, we can have this pursuit of happiness. So for that, we need a common body where we will have a common rule and we'll follow those rules, and then accordingly we will lead our life. Now you tell me, when you want to have a committee, for example, in your class, you want to have a committee, and in that committee, we look after, you can see the well-being of your batch, third batch, for example. Now, is it possible that all of you will get the same privilege, from this committee? Can we expect that?
No, sir. No, sir.
Because it's not possible. Somebody will get a little bit of privilege, somebody will get less privilege. I will give you an example. For example, we will decide that people who are living in Soyadpur, they will come to the university after the vacation, but people who are living in different other districts, they don't have to come. They can stay home, but they will get the attendance because the situation is not well right at this moment. So we don't want people from other districts to travel to Soyadpur and to jeopardize their situation, also to jeopardize our situation. So we don't want them to come now. After 15 days, they will come. But people who are staying in Soyadpur or adjacent areas, they will come to the class and they will attend, and they will send all those lectures to their friends. Now you tell me, who are privileged here?
We are privileged here.
We means people living in the
Different from different district.
exactly different
আমাদের
districts.
তো যাইতে হচ্ছে না।
Exactly. You are staying in your own place. You are staying. Yes, you're exactly. You're staying safe. You are staying safe. On the other hand, your friends who are living very close to university areas, they are not safe. At the same time, they are going to they are attending lectures and they are sending all those lecture materials to you. So you're staying home and you're getting all the privileges. And at the same time, it has been decided that we will give all of you will get attendance. So you see, you are more privileged. But we have done it for the betterment of all the people in the group, right?
Yes, sir.
So that's why you see, some of you have to sacrifice your privileges. People in the Soyadpur, they have to sacrifice their privileges for the benefit of the people of the same community, of their people from the same class, their classmates, their friends. So this is the idea. We call it social contract. It's a kind of social contract. In the social contract, or in this kind of situation, some people will sacrifice their privileges for the greater benefit of the society. So here he's saying that to secure these rights, that is these natural rights, governments are instituted among men. So we have the government in the man, so that government can help us to pursue this life liberty and to have this kind of happiness in our life. All of us, that we can enjoy the same privilege, same merits. So deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So here the word is consent. So you see, we have the committee from the third batch with the consent of the all 53 or 54 students from the third batch, right?
Yes, sir.
So all the 50 students or more than 50 students, we have agreed upon the same thing. So we have consented We have gave our opinion positively. Okay, we can have this committee. People who are living in other districts, they will stay there. People living in Soyatpur and Dinajpur, they will attend the classes and they will help their friends accordingly. So you see, we have this also in the society. We have this kind of government system, and we try to privilege other people by sacrificing some of our own privileges. Now, people living in the colonial, these colonies, in North American colonies, they also agreed upon the same thing, that, okay, we'll sacrifice some of our privileges, and we have this government, this British Empire, they will rule us, but they will also ensure our average life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. But you see, they are exploited. They are not getting the thing actually they were looking for from the British Empire. And the king was quite ignorant, and sometimes actually he didn't care about the well-being of people from these colonies. So that's why actually they want to be, they want to get separated from the British colony, and they want to establish their own country, that is America. So now that's why he says that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form. So that's why he's saying, they're saying that in this draft, that when the government, that we agree that we'll sacrifice some of our privileges and we'll have a government so that all of us, we can enjoy, or we can lead a life which is full of happiness. But when the government fails to ensure those things, and it becomes very destructive, then we have the right to abolish that government and to institute or to form a new government and to have a new country. Do you get me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. So this is the understanding of the preamble. Now, since we don't have enough time, we have only 7 minutes left. So in the next 2 minutes, I'll go through some part of this and then try to explain in as simple as possible. Now here you see, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. Now he's saying that it is very important to remember that we shouldn't change a government, or we shouldn't destabilize a government, or we shouldn't abolish a government for some very flimsy reason, or very, you can say, very, what should I say, very lame excuses. Oh, I don't like this government, so we don't have to have this government. It's not like that. You must have a very solid reason. So that's why he's saying that light and transient causes. For this reason, actually, for light reason, we cannot say that we don't need this government. We have to have very solid reason to abolish a government. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms of which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a desire to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Now he's saying that when actually we find that a government, again and again, it fails to ensure people's security, people's life and liberty, if it fails to ensure that, then it becomes something which, something obligatory to abolish that absolute despotism, to abolish that kind of government, to destroy that kind of government. It becomes a duty. So that's why he's saying that it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government. That means to abolish that kind of government. It is their duty now. And to provide new guards for their future security. That means to provide new guards means to provide a new government for their future security. There means the people of the North American colony. So they need a new government to ensure their own safety, security, life, liberty, and happiness, whatever you say. So that's why he's saying that for this reason, actually, we want to have a new government, and we want to separate our all kinds of connection with the British Empire. Now, the rest of the paragraph, he is saying that such has been the patient sufferance of these continents.
Sir, একটা question, sir.
Yes, please, go on.
Sir, স্যার নর্থ আমেরিকান কলোনিটাই কি শেষে ইউএসএ হয়?
Exactly. North American colonies means USA, Canada all together. Okay.
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ।
Okay, you're most welcome. Now, such has been the patient sufferings of these colonies. That means very patiently they are suffering all these things. I mean, these colonies for a long time, these exactions, these persecutions, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. Now, it has made them, it has compelled them to abolish this government and to form a new system of government. So they don't want to be under the rule of monarchy, the British monarchy anymore. So that is their idea. The history of the present king of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these estates. So you see, they're saying that this king, actually, he is having this kind of usurpations and this kind of injuries on these colonial people for a long time. So it has become his history, and he's repeating the same thing again and again. So that's why he's saying that all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these estates. Now he has established an absolute tyranny over these estates. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. Now he's saying that, I mean, he's a despot, or he is very despotic, this king of Great Britain, and also he is a tyrant. Now, I mean, he's saying that now we are going to give you some proof. That's why he's saying that let facts be submitted to a candid world. The candid world means the rest of the world. I mean, all the world, rest of the world, except, you see, besides UK or England or the British Empire, they are also addressing all the people all over the world. They are saying that, okay, you are the witness. These are the reasons we are going to give you. That's why actually we are separating ourselves from the British Empire, so that in future you cannot blame us that we were very much, unjust to the British Empire. So that's why now they are giving the proofs. From here, actually, in this draft, Thomas Jefferson, actually he has started mentioning all those 27 different allegations against the British Empire. And in our one of our lectures, since in our last lectures, actually we talked about all these oppressions against the British Empire. So I don't want to repeat all those. So still, if you have any questions, so you can ask me. I want to conclude my today's lecture with this. So now the floor is open. We have 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, if you have any question, you can just have it here now. Yes. Now the floor is open. Do you have any question?
স্যার
Yes.
স্যার
Okay. One by one. You better you take your turn yourself. Yeah. Go on.
হ্যালো
Yes.
স্যার, ক্যান ইউ হিয়ার মি?
Yes, I can hear you.
স্যার স্যার আমি একটু মিস করে গেছি, সেজন্য স্যার আমার কোশ্চেনটা হয়তো বা একটু বেশি
We have sent you our assignment. Have you checked?
Okay. Your assignments, I have all those assignments. I have received all those assignments. So actually, I haven't checked them yet. I will check them and then I will let you know later, inshallah. So don't worry about that.
স্যার
Yes.
হ্যালো
Yes. I can hear you.
স্যার আমি আগের লেকচারটা মিস করে গেছি, সেজন্য স্যার আমার কোশ্চেনটা হয়তো অনেক আগের হবে।
No
স্যার
problem.
জেফারসন কি হচ্ছে যে আমেরিকার হয়ে হচ্ছে যে ব্রিটিশদের অপারেশন থেকে আমেরিকাকে উদ্ধার করতেছিল?
Yes, Thomas Jefferson, actually, he was also a member of the British colony. He was also living in that British colony, and he was a leader at that time. So that's actually on behalf of all the leaders, they gave him the job to write this draft and to present it before this Congress, or we can say the Continental Congress they are going to have very soon at that time. So he was given the job, he drafted it, and then he presented it before all the leaders, and then they have this draft, they edited it, and later on they accepted it. Okay. Actually, we have less than 30 seconds, so I have to stop it here. If you have any more questions, you can leave those questions on the Facebook page. So I really appreciate your cooperation and thank you very much. stay safe, stay at home, and I wish you all the best. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Take care.
Assalamu alaikum.